How to know that you're making progress in your health and fitness goals and journey. This is something that I get asked a lot, especially because a lot of the times we just are so programmed to believe that the number one way to know that we are making progress is to see the scale go down or even to see like consistent changes in the mirror, right? And a lot of the times, yes, like if you're going from a place of not really being really intentional with your health, you're not really like moving your body, maybe you're under eating or you're just like winging your nutrition. And then you start to, of course, incorporate protein, move your body more, drink more water, manage your stress. Yeah, you can experience a little bit of, outside changes, right? But that's not always the case. And, this can make us believe that we're not making progress. And so, the first thing I want to go into is that in order to understand that we're making progress in our health and fitness journey, we have to first define progress because progress is going to look different based upon your goal, based upon where you're at in life. And we also have to take into account your goal and not just your goal, but also the steps that are needed to reach your goal for your own individualized journey. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Most women that come to, embody her, their goal is to lose fat, build muscle. But a lot of times they also maybe know nothing about macros and they also have never stepped foot in a gym or they used to, but they have a lot of gym anxiety now. Um, a lot of times they might also want to get better at the basics and work on their relationship with food and eating and their bodies. And so, somebody who has the goal to lose 30 pounds right now, that might be her goal, right? But if she is somebody who's under eating, doesn't know how to properly fuel herself, has extremely high stress levels, has a weird relationship with food and all these programmings around like food and eating and weight loss and like, don't eat this and don't eat that. And like that's her mindset. She's not a strong candidate for a fat loss phase, right? Because we're already moving into a deficit within shaky ground. Okay. And so this person, although her initial goal might be to lose 30 pounds, progress is going to look a little bit different for her because of where she's at in her journey. So like her long-term goal might be to lose 30 pounds, but like her short-term goal is going to be to improve her relationship with food, get really good at tracking her macros, really build strong, stress management coping mechanisms. Well, I think that kind of goes together, but you guys know what I mean, right? And so, although her long term goal might be to lose 30 pounds, just because her long term goal is to lose 30 pounds now doesn't mean that it's something that can happen now. So, there might be a phase where we prepare you for another phase, a future phase of fat loss, but the goal is still there. It's just that the timeline is different. So, of course, progress is going to be defined differently, right? It always goes back to, one of my favorite kind of examples, right? Where there's two people in a room and progress to one girl might be having, the cookies and being guilt-free about it. Progress for the other person might be to have one cookie and not feel like she has to overeat, right? And so progress is going to look different dependent on where you're at in your journey and the individualized steps that you need to personally take in order to reach your short and long-term goals. Okay. And so this is why within the Embody Her 101 coaching experience, we take our clients through a 4-phase roadmap to success. So that way we can define and make progress in incremental ways that compound on top of each other versus, trying to go 0 to 100, overhaul your life, short sprint of a health kick and crash. Because that's the biggest mistake that I see within the pursuit of your health and fitness goals and just like wellness in general, um, is we tend to make the mistake of trying to do everything all at once, build the booty while losing the fat, while healing our relationship with food, while this, while that. And you can't do it all at once, right? And this is why a lot of people get like burnt out, or they feel like, oh my God, like I feel like I'm doing everything and I'm not really seeing the progress that they want, because progress is a million different motherfucking things for them, right? And so, I'll get the question, well, Lexi, can I make multiple types of progress while also trying to progress towards my goal? It depends. Yeah, it happens, but some goals actually clash with each other, right? So again, someone with the goal of achieving food freedom, working their relationship with food, learning how to, track their macros and gain, flexibility in their nutrition, build muscle, but she also wants to lose 20 pounds and be in a deficit. Well, a deficit is restrictive. It just is, like, you're eating less than your body needs, right? And so, you're going to have to opt out of like drinking as much and like all of the things. So those two things clash. And so the first step would be to actually create that strong foundation, and progress might not look like the scale going down, but progress will look like having improved relationship with food, or, overcoming gym intimidation, right? And there's actually so many ways to see that you're progressing. And this is why on our check-in form with our clients, I always ask, like, what are your non-scale victories? Like, how are we progressing in the unseen ways? Because even when you see like these insane before and afters, right? It's like, there's so much that you're not seeing that this person worked through, right? And so different forms of progress can look like healing your relationship with food, having zero food guilt, improving your energy levels, improved digestion, hunger cues, appetite, improved relationship with the scale, learning how to track your macros efficiently, working through gym intimidation, processing your feelings versus numbing, right? And these are all forms of progress that are deeper than just like the metrics, right? Now, let's say that we've worked on all of this. We've gone through phase one, which is our build to burn phase, which is where we're really just focusing on, again, like a lot of the times the women that I work with, they're coming in and they have shitty energy levels, shitty gut health, little to no hunger cues. They go hours without eating. They're not properly fueling themselves. They have a lot of programmings around weight loss, how to go about it, and they really want to play the long game in their journey now. And so in phase one, this is really what we're working on. And some people spend 12 weeks in phase one. Some people spend 6 months in phase one. Some people spend a year in phase one. You know what I mean? Depending on their goals and where they're at, of course. And so let's say you get to the place where now we're in phase two, which is our fat loss initiation phase. And we're now transitioning into a deficit or a weight loss phase, right? Now, obviously, because the goal is now weight loss, well, progress is going to look now in alignment with what is the goal for fat loss, right? And so indicators of progress in a weight loss phase will be metrics moving, right? Like inches going down, we're maybe feeling, our waist, we're feeling our waist a little bit, kind of shedding off, like maybe we're seeing new low weigh-ins every other week or so. And if you're not seeing the metrics move, well, obviously I won't be able to tell you, but for my clients that have already gone through the foundational building phase and we've already done all of that stuff to prime them for healthy fat loss, if the metrics aren't moving, then we need to just look at adherence. Adherence pretty much just means the ability to stick to a protocol, right? Adherence means sticking to something, being consistent, right? And there's so many different dimensions of adherence, right? Or, consistency. But 9 times out of 10, 80 to 90% consistency is what we're looking for in nutrition and everything else in order to see the metrics moving, especially at the rate that you want them to move, right? And so I tell my clients this all the time. If you want highly predictable progress, you need to be highly consistent. That's it. I always say the formula for results in a calorie deficit, and you see how I highlight results in a calorie deficit, because results are going to look different depending on your goal and depending on your roadmap. Okay, again, so like results from someone going into phase one, which is our build to burn phase, again, like it's how I talked about earlier. They have shitty energy levels. They're so used to doing like these super unsustainable ways, like overhauling their life type shit, whatever. Results are going to look like improved digestion, improve this, improve that, improve this. Strong foundation. Now we can transition to our deficit phase, right? Our cut. But now that we're in a cut, now progress is going to look, it's still going to look like, obviously digestion, it's still going to look like that. But now it's also, these metrics, right? Because at the end of the day, right, like you want the metrics to move and you want them to move consistently enough. But they only move if you move, right? And if they're not moving, then we need to look at other factors, right? Like stress, gut health, alcohol intake. Are we under eating? Because under eating stalls progress just as much as, eating outside of a deficit is in a deficit. And for those who don't know what a deficit is, it's basically just a weight loss phase. You're eating less than your body needs. And so you are, losing weight, but we want to make sure that most of that weight is coming from fat and not muscle, right? I think there's a misconception that like health is synonymous with weight loss. Just because you're being healthier doesn't mean that like you're going to lose weight, right? Because health is not the same as weight loss. And I always highlight this. And so sometimes, you can feel like you're, eating healthier, quote unquote healthier, whatever that means, right? You're, maybe you're exercising more, maybe you're eating more protein, maybe you're like getting better sleep and like the scale isn't moving. And you're like, oh my God, like I'm broken. Like I'm doing all these things and I'm not like the scale isn't going down. I'm not losing weight. It's because health is not synonymous with weight loss. Okay. So working on your internal health, working on building healthy habits isn't just going to like give you weight loss. To some people, does it? Yeah. Like have we seen people like lose weight even in a reverse diet? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that means that if someone doesn't lose weight in a reverse diet or they don't lose weight because they're being healthy, that there's something wrong with that or that they're not making progress. Because again, progress is going to be defined on not just your goal, but also the steps that are needed for your individualized roadmap and journey. Right. So yes, we can romanticize the process. We can bring pleasure and play into it so that way we can stay consistent and make it a lifestyle. But also, we just got to know that sometimes we just got to get grimy. We just got to do the work. And I think a lot of times we underestimate what it takes. Um, we like underestimate and then also overestimate. Like I see people over complicating things all the time and then at the same time underestimating the level of adherence that is needed to really reach like their fat loss and like muscle building goals, right? And so this is why it can get a little bit tricky when, even me, when I'm talking about building your dream body while also making it a lifestyle, it doesn't mean that all of that's going to happen all at once. You know what I mean? Like you're working toward it and there's different phases that we go through in order to get to that manifestation of building your dream body and also your dream lifestyle. But it takes time, right? But time flies, which is a great thing. And so if we're always living for the destination, if we're always living for whatever it is that we have fixated in our mind, whatever outcome based goal, this is why a lot of people end up losing motivation or they just don't want to show up anymore because they feel like, oh, well, I want this metric to move. And even though I'm being really consistent, what's the point? And I get that. Like I've been there. And I think sometimes we have to go through our own maturity in our journey to get to the place where we don't really care if we're like given immediate reward. We just want to build a lifestyle and we want to show up for ourselves regardless if we get immediate reward. And if you're not there, I mean, it's just your own journey that you're going to have to go on to build maturity because honestly, the reality of it is that if you're only showing up when you get immediate reward, you are pretty much like you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure when you are to reach that goal. Because the second you reach that goal, it's like, okay, like I reached it, now what? which is why the women that work with me and, with Embody Her, they're in the Embody Her coaching experience for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years even, right? They are so set up for success because they're not like living just for like the short sprints of motivation. They learn how to actually continue to move the needle forward without that instant gratification. And we live in a society of instant gratification, right? And it sets us up for failure, truthfully. And this is why fad diets are so popular. People get really mad. I get really mad about like fad diets, but people are buying it. You know what I mean? It's not like these companies are broke. These are $1 trillion companies, right? That feed off of your desire to get, shit quick. And you're signing a deal with the devil every single time you want something quick because it's not that easy, right? And it's not meant to be that easy, or else everybody would be walking around healthy and fit. And it's the opposite, right? Especially in America and Western culture. So, how to know you're making progress in your health and fitness? One of the most important things is, and I have my clients do this all the time, and I know it can be difficult sometimes, but constantly highlighting and celebrating the small wins. How is your mindset changing around things, right? Around your body image, around your food, around your health, around, your ability to hold stress and, things are hectic, but your ability to hold yourself through that, right? And not like fall into self neglect or self abandonment, right? How, like, it can be really easy, and this is a very normal part of us as humans in our cognitive function, is just fixating on where we felt like we felt short. Especially when you have a coach, I feel, at least like in my experience, I try to create like a space for growth. Um, so it's a safe space for you to come and be vulnerable, but it's also a space for growth. But sometimes we can kind of put our coach on a pedestal, or put like trainers on a pedestal and like have this fear. And if you've dealt with like narcissistic trainers, or just trainers who like had good intention but they just lacked like psychology skills, like behavior change skills, and like human skills, then I'm sorry, but that's something that I'm very, very big on, is just like being a human, and understanding you're a human. And I study psychology. I study, just like the brain and the mind and the energetics, so that way I can help our clients not just, of course, learn how to, have flexibility in their nutrition and learn how to like move their body and improve their internal health, but also shift their mindset, right? And shift and overcome self sabotage and clear limiting beliefs that are keeping them in the same loops unconsciously. And so that is a huge form of progress, is being able to recognize your progress more, recognize your wins more, celebrate yourself more, even for the little shit. Even if you feel like you fell short this week, being able to not like internalize it and make it about like who you are and your capabilities, like feeling down, like, oh, well, I didn't do it. So like you feel depressed about yourself, or you feel like down about yourself. It's like, no, we pick ourselves up and we continue to move the needle forward. It's a huge form of progress. We have the holidays coming up right now, depending on when you're listening to this, but right now it's December 5th in 2023. And so, a huge form of progress that I'm seeing with a lot of our clients right now is the ability to manage stress during like the hectic holiday season, and also like leaning into gratitude, because it's a lot of stressing about like gift wrapping and gifts and holiday parties. And I'm like, girls, ladies, this is a blessing. It's stressful. We can hold it, but let's also lean into gratitude, because there's people who like don't have that, or like who want that, or don't even like, they're trying to have kids, or they're trying to do this. And if you're a client listening to this, we had this conversation. Hi, I love you. And so, that is a huge form of progress, is being able to shift your perspective so you can have a little bit more inner peace. And stress isn't bad, you know what I mean? Stress is helpful. It gets us up, it gets us going, gets our adrenaline rush, so we can, move through these things and be prepared. But like, if we perceive stress as something that's bad for us, and then we're stressing about stress, okay, well, that's a simple perspective shift. Regulating our nervous, these are all insane forms of progress that most of us celebrate, like losing the most amount of weight in the shortest amount of time. Great. We all grew up on watching like The Biggest Loser, What was that about? Losing the most amount of weight in the shortest amount of time, doing the most hectic. And so we're conditioned to celebrate that shit. You might even have family members or coworkers who are hopping onto Octavia or this and that, and it can be tempting. I promise you, fast forward 6 months from now, they're going to be in the same body, if not more weight. So the best thing you can do for yourself now is follow a roadmap that is going to allow you to remain adaptable to your external circumstances. So what that means is not being so rigid and having this black and white thinking with your journey, and really thinking about what practices and habits can I work to create. And again, you only want to build like 2 to 3 habits at a time, because a lot of times, again, we try to overhaul our entire life and then we get overwhelmed and burnt out. And then sometimes shit changes, and what used to like not really burn us out now does. And so we kind of just have to adapt and continue to identify the areas that you're progressing. Something that I'm trying to do more, because I 100% am guilty of absolutely overlooking, getting a quick dopamine rush on like a celebration, and then just like completely overlooking all the areas that I did show up and feeling like it wasn't enough, or that I wasn't perfect enough, or whatever. Enough. That's like the word, enough. And this really is like stems from not feeling good enough, period. Um, and so one of the most valuable things that you can do, and I'm starting to do this, is again, every day writing, and not just writing it down like with no feeling, like actually feeling in your physiology the gratitude for where you are in life right now and all the things that you have prayed for that you have or are living right now, right? And if you feel like you're not living the things that you're praying for, right? Well, then what is kind of in the way of that? What we got to kind of get curious on like the subconscious blocks, because I promise you it's not time. It's not this, it's not anything outside of yourself. It's just not. It's always within yourself. Okay. And when we put it on external circumstances, what we're actually saying is that we're giving our power away. And again, this doesn't mean that like this doesn't mean that we can take one routine that we did in the past and like try to copy and paste it into our current life. That's not going to fit. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, are we remaining adaptable? Are we getting curious around our limiting belief systems that are keeping us in the same perpetuating cycles? And how can we celebrate the small wins more? And how can we define like what progress looks like for us in this period of time in life right now? And like actually writing a sticky note and having that somewhere where you can see it every day, whether it's on your mirror or your laptop or your agenda or whatever, or even like making it your wallpaper on your phone. Like, this is what progress looks like to me right now. And then once you're really, really great with that, then you can continue to make new forms of progress, right? And if you feel like, you just are kind of spinning the wheels, or you're always constantly trying on your own and you end up in the same position, then I would love to encourage you to apply for our one-on-one coaching experience. Okay. And I call it a coaching experience now than a program. And I might say program here or there, but you're not really committing to the program. Well, yes, like you want to, of course, follow the things that we have in place, but it's more than a program. It's an experience. You're not committing to the program. You're committing to yourself, your motherfucking self, and your future. Okay. I'm not here. Like, you don't need to do this. You're investing. You're investing in yourself. This is for you. You do it. I'm here to coach you and guide you, but this is for you. Right. And so this is the work that we do within the coaching experience. We have to have a roadmap, identify our short and long-term goals, and then we continue to incrementally work on that and make progress towards that. And so progress might look like, initially for the first couple of months, depending on where you're at, having better stress management, improved gut health, improved energy levels. You're feeling stronger. You overcome gym intimidation. The scale hasn't moved. Does that mean you're not making progress? No, that's not how we're defining progress right now, right? If someone's in a deficit and the scale isn't moving, but they are seeing their inches moving, they are seeing changes in their body, does it mean that they're not making progress? No, because that's only one metric of progress. Okay. And so these are all the things that we want to look at. And these are the ways that I personally define progress and how to know you're making progress in your journey, right? Is really asking yourself, how have I grown? How have I shifted? And you want to do this when you're in an emotionally neutral spot, because whenever we're feeling more stressed than usual, more anxious, we're going to have obviously a skewed vision on ourselves and our life. You know what I mean? Like we can feel just like empty or just like lost or stuck, right? But you want to do it when you're in a neutral place, or at least you're feeling good, because then you can actually see with like clear goggles. And how have you grown? How have you shifted? And how do you want to continue to grow and shift? Okay. And that's how we know, and that's how we can track quote unquote progress in your journey. Okay, guys. And again, it's going to go back to your goal. It's going to go back to everybody's individual shit. Okay. It's all going to look different depending on where you're at. Okay. That's pretty much it for today, guys. Super excited. I finally was able to film a podcast episode. I literally had filmed this podcast episode a million times. And I just was falling into like this perfectionistic mindset as fuck. And I think a lot of it did have to do with like smoking. Um, I'm not like against, weed or anything like that, but I really was kind of I was just smoking it like, throughout the day. And I just felt like it was making me overthink things, and it's not the weed itself. It's not the weed. It's just I like being more in my body now. It's at least, for now. And so I'm gonna keep you guys updated on that as well. But if this episode helped you in any way, shape, or form, it would mean so much to me if you left a review or a rating. This is how we really help the podcast grow. Taking a screenshot and like sharing it on your story, sending it to your friends. I have a vision for this podcast. And initially I was kind of just like, whatever, it's just like a little thing. And now I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just getting to this place in my life where I am tapping into this next level vision. And I can't wait to share with you guys more behind the scenes. So let's get it. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next episode. And thanks for listening. Love you so much. Bye.